Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. Happy Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And we are doing something that feels appropriate for a weekend morning. Sherri, actually, I just looked at the clock. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's fine.
Well, it's morning for us, gosh darn it, because we slept in. Yeah. This recipe, this Sunday cooking recipe for me, is the most terrified I have been of any recipe we've done.
I'm a little bit nervous, but I think it's going to be fine.
Sherri,
Yeah.
What are we making today?
Cinnamon rolls.
Keto cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
So this is a recipe that our friend Auburn sent me earlier, I think it was this week, and asked us to make. And instantly my heart sank. Because for me, I love cooking. I actually really enjoy cooking. Baking, for whatever reason, scares the poop out of me.
I enjoy baking.
You were saying the other day that you actually like baking more than cooking.
Yes, because of how methodical it is. Like, there's a recipe, you follow it, and it's fine.
So that's what we're gonna do. We are doing a couple of adjustments on this recipe.
Yeah.
I did read through the comments on this recipe, and it's hilarious because there's some people that are like, this was amazing, it was so good, I can't believe I actually get cinnamon rolls on keto. And then there were some people that was like, this was the worst recipe ever, and it ended up in the trash, and it was so sticky. But
I don't feel like there was any in between. Like, there was no like 3 stars. Like, it was 1 or 5. Like, there's never like an in between.
Here's the thing though that I know. No matter how this recipe turns out, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. This is not something I ever would have tried unless a friend was like, hey, make this. So Auburn, thank you. Now, let me show you guys the ingredients we're gonna need. So here are the ingredients for the cinnamon rolls. Back here, we have almond flour, we have coconut flour, we have granulated sugar. We're using that monk fruit sweetener. It's sweeter than the Swerve granulated sugar. So I'm hoping that adds a little bit of sweetness to the cinnamon roll. And then we have the brown sugar Swerve over here. We have parchment paper. We have baking powder, cream cheese, eggs, mozzarella cheese. Wait, what? Very curious to see the role that plays in these. And then over here, we have some butter and vanilla extract. Those are the things we're gonna need for the cinnamon rolls. Now over here are things that we're gonna need for the 2 toppings that we're gonna put on these. And we're doing 2 toppings for a reason. One of the biggest like negative comments that I read about this recipe is that the icing that they have you make and put on top just like was not good at all. So I'm like, well, I'm hesitant to put like this icing over the top of everything in case it's not good. I don't want to ruin like a good cinnamon roll with bad icing, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the icing and we're gonna make it a little bit different on half. But then the other half, we're making a maple butter. Oh my goodness. So when we were in Florida this last December, we got to have Sarah's cinnamon rolls. Now Sarah is Auburn's mom, and the whole time Auburn was with us, we had heard about Sarah's cinnamon rolls. And then we got to try them in person. And holy cow, they were unbelievable. But Sarah doesn't use icing or frosting, and I was so skeptical because I was like, oh gosh, like that's where the sweetness comes in. How is this gonna be so good without icing? Well, they were. So when I read this recipe, I saw that the icing was one of the problems. I thought, you know what? Let's go more butter on top. And then I messaged Auburn, and Auburn was like, why don't you make a maple butter? And I was like, you're a genius. So we're doing half of these with a maple butter, half of them with icing. And for the maple butter, we are gonna need obviously butter. We're gonna need vanilla extract. We are gonna need maple extracts. We are gonna need Swerve confectioners or powdered sugar, and then some ground Himalayan sea salt. Now, for the icing, we are going to need cream cheese, whipping cream, and vanilla extract. So these are going to make up our 2 different cinnamon roll toppings. Now, as with our Sunday cooking videos, I am gonna put the links down below to this recipe. I'm gonna put the link to the maple butter recipe as well. And all of this stuff we're doing, we're trying to make it as keto as possible. Cinnamon rolls, sweets, these kind of things are something that I miss so much doing keto. So fingers crossed, this is going to be really good. But again, I'm so excited to try this, and I'm so surprised that I'm saying that because all week long I've been like nervous and terrified and like felt this anxiety over doing this recipe. But the closer it's gotten, the more excited I am. So let's give it a try. Step number 1, make the rolls. So here we go. Sherri, how much almond flour do we need?
2 cups.
There's 1 cup and 2 cups.
Next, we need 2 tablespoons of coconut flour.
1, 2.
Next, we need a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, such as Swerve.
And I mentioned this earlier, we're using monk fruit sweetener. Now, it's
Instead of
interesting.
Swerve.
Yeah, instead of Swerve. It was actually our doctor who recommended this to us.
Yep.
She said that if we had a sweet tooth while we're on keto, to use monk fruit sweetener instead of Swerve because it's sweeter and actually tastes more like real sugar. Thanks, Doc.
Next, we need 1 tablespoon of gluten-free baking powder.
Now, we had this baking powder already, and I wasn't sure. I was like, wait, is all baking powder like gluten-free? I don't know if it is or not, but I know that the one we already had was.
Yep.
So, didn't have to buy that.
That's nice.
1 tablespoon. There we go. And then we're just gonna whisk this up just real quick. It just says to whisk it until it's well combined. I'd say that is pretty good.
In a separate bowl, we are going to mix 2 large eggs with 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract.
Perfect, that's easy enough. Look at that, Sherry. No shells even.
Good job.
I'm very impressed with myself. And the vanilla, I'll have you know, this vanilla we got from our friend Jessica Violet.
Yes, we did.
It's almost gone, so Jessica, I'll be checking our P.O. box. I'm kidding. 1 and 2. And then it just says to whisk these up, so I'm just gonna use a fork and whisk those up until they are nice and combined. Get some air in there. Perfect. Now here's where the recipe starts to get weird for me. Because the next step is we're going to combine the mozzarella cheese and the cream cheese in a microwave safe bowl, and we're going to microwave it like 30 seconds at a time, kind of stirring it until it is like melted and mixed up. And mozzarella and cream cheese are just things that I don't think about when I think of cinnamon rolls.
Cream cheese, yes, but not
cream cheese, yes, but not mozzarella cheese. So fingers crossed this works. Let's give it a try.
All right, so 2 cups mozzarella cheese.
Perfect.
And then we have these individual cream cheese packets that are 1 ounce each, so we're just going to do 4 of them.
These individual packets we get at Costco, and they've actually been really handy for recipes because most recipes that we like need to use cream cheese in calls for like cream cheese in 1 ounce like increments. So it's like 1 ounce, 4 ounces, 8 ounces.
So much easier than like measuring it out.
It really is. So I'm just kind of folding the cream cheese into the mozzarella before I microwave it, just so the mozzarella, or just so the cream cheese isn't just like sitting on top. Now, it says that we are going to microwave this until melty, 30-second increments. It says it should take about 90 seconds, so we will see. 30 seconds. Let's go. Sherry Beth, so far, how are you feeling it's going?
Good.
Yeah?
Not hard.
I know.
You just follow the instructions, which you're not good at.
That's what I was just going to say, is
That's
that
the reason that I build all of the furniture in our house.
100% there is. Okay, first 30 seconds is up. I'm just going to take it out and look, and it's starting to get there, but you can see it definitely still needs a little bit of time, so I'm just going to give it a quick stir and then put it back in for 30 more seconds. And just so you know, our oven is preheated to 375 degrees. So this is after 90 seconds. You can kind of see what the consistency looks like. It looks stringy and gooey and delicious. It looks like everything is pretty melted in there. Sherry Beth, what do you think?
I think so. I mean, there's no, or very few, like, individual pieces of that mozzarella.
So I think I'm gonna call this good. Also, it's just like a cheese ball, and I just kind of want to eat this.
Correct.
So now we're gonna add the egg mixture. Remember, we had the, what was this? Egg and vanilla to the dry mixture. And then we're gonna add this delicious little cheese ball into that as well. Oh boy.
Thunk.
I know, it's like a brick. And then one thing you want to make sure you do is when you have the fork. It's so good. It's cheese.
Right.
Oh. And now is where there's just no way around it getting messy.
Yeah. Adam just washed his
I
hands.
just wash my hands, so don't be grossed out.
Right.
But we need to get in here, and we're gonna knead this until it is well combined.
Yep.
So get in there.
Mix it all up.
Mix it all up. Make it nice and happy with your hands.
Like dough.
Like a dough. Again, one of the biggest negative things that people said about this dough was just how sticky it is. Now, some of that obviously is the fact that it's mostly cheese.
Right.
Right?
Which is just going to be sticky.
Which is just going to be sticky. There's not really a way around that.
Right, because it's not just like flour, sugar, and eggs. It's like a hard thing to begin with.
Exactly. So, I will admit, because I'm not great at baking, I don't necessarily know the consistency or the amount, like what I'm looking for, or even how to knead dough. Sherri, am I doing a good job?
Well, you're not really.
Okay, what should I be doing differently?
Don't spread your fingers.
Oh.
And just sort of like...
Spoons, not forks.
Yes.
Spoons, not forks. Okay.
Yes.
Like this?
Yes. And use more of like your actual hand, like not just your fingers.
Part of the problem is that my hands are ginormo.
I know.
And even in our biggest bowl. See, that's all you had to tell me. Spoons, not forks.
That's better, right?
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So pro tip.
Spoons, not forks.
Spoons, not forks. So I think that everything is pretty well mixed together.
I can tell already this is going to be much more of a keto dough than like a real dough because it's spiky. Like it doesn't look smooth.
No, completely.
Like real dough is supposed to look.
And
but that's
I
okay.
don't think there's a way around that.
Right.
So we're getting ready to roll out the dough here, but we also need a piece of parchment paper in here. And Sherri was just saying she saw something on Pinterest.
I haven't tried it. I'm going to try it.
Okay, here we go.
It says when you're lining a pan with parchment paper or whatever to flip the pan over
Okay.
and place this over the bottom of it
Okay.
and make your folds there,
All right.
which tend to be a little bit easier because you're not trying to like fold it into a place, you're folding it around a place.
Okay.
And then when you go to put it in
The dish.
the dish,
It already
those
has-
folds are already in there.
Okay, let's see if this
So
works.
you kind of already have like the fold marks.
Okay. Let's see. Did that work at all?
No, not really.
Okay. Nailed
Maybe
it.
just because it's parchment paper, maybe it'd work better with like a aluminum foil or something that has a little bit more give. But it's fine.
We're professional
I know.
bakers.
I will say it did keep the folds
Okay.
that I made on the outside.
You guys, we are learning here, okay? Have grace with us. We're trying new things. We're trying to get better. We're learning. Now, let's get this dough rolled out. So we have our parchment paper. That is
Not wax paper.
not wax paper. You guys let us know last time. Which is out here on our counter. We're gonna put our dough on that. But one of the things, in fact, maybe like one of the most common things that we heard about this recipe is that this dough is so sticky that it's really hard to get off the parchment paper and roll.
Yeah, so many people said they ended up just throwing the entire thing away because they couldn't get it off of the paper.
They couldn't roll it. So here's our thought. Our thought is, what if we just put a little bit of almond flour, just like a sprinkle of almond flour. We don't want so much that it makes the dough even grainier, but just something that allows us to roll it off of the paper. So we are going to almond flour a parchment paper first, and fingers crossed it helps it not stick. Again, I don't want like a lot on this. It's almost like when you put like cornmeal. So I know that a lot of places put like cornmeal on the bottom of like a pizza dough.
Or flour when you're doing like cookies.
Now the moment of truth. Our dough right there. And then I think we just bake it like that, right, Sherri? Good to go.
Okay.
So now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna sprinkle just a little bit more almond flour just over the top of this, like so. And then we have a second piece of parchment paper we're gonna put over the top. And now what we're gonna wanna do is like roll this out. You can see we actually have our rolling pin, which I did not even know we owned. And so it says that you want to like spread it out into just a flat rectangle. So, Sherri, I literally have no clue what I'm doing.
Okay.
So if I'm doing something wrong, okay, I have a question. Could I just do it with my hands at first?
Yes.
So I will say this like wants to like move around a lot and like roll a whole bunch. So we have it rolled out. Now the moment of truth, Sherri.
Can we get the parchment paper off?
Can we get the parchment paper off? Oh boy. Oh wait. Okay, this isn't horrible right now.
Tearing a little bit.
It's tearing a little bit, but I kind of expected that.
Not terrible though.
That's not so bad.
Right.
Now here's the thing that I don't know. The thickness. They didn't tell us what thickness this should be.
Yeah, we just kind of guessed. It's
It
probably
looks-
about 1/8 of an inch.
It looks too thin to me, but we're gonna go with it because I have no clue like what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So now we're getting our brown sugar and cinnamon mixture ready to put on top of our cinnamon rolls, and it is 1/3 cup of that Swerve brown sugar and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And so now we're just gonna mix these. All right, there we go. So now we've got a couple tablespoons of melted butter, and now what we're gonna do is we're just going to brush this with butter. One of my favorite parts about when we were in Florida in November and December was watching Sarah make these. Obviously the ones that she made were not keto. God bless her.
And probably way more delicious than these will be.
And for sure way more delicious. But it was really fun watching her. In fact, I'm going to put a link down below over on Auburn's channel. She actually videoed making her mom's cinnamon roll recipe. If you're not doing keto and you want to have what to me was the best cinnamon rolls I've ever had, go check out that video. But my favorite part of watching Sarah make it was the kind of thing that you could tell she's made them so many times that it was just like, it was like natural for her to make them. So, what do you think, Sherri? Is that good?
I think so.
All right, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
There we go. Next step, we've got our cinnamon brown sugar. And we are just going to sprinkle all over. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it at least looks like a cinnamon roll, Sherri.
Right.
Have you ever made cinnamon rolls before? Or like homemade cinnamon rolls?
I don't know.
Like growing up, maybe?
Probably.
Really?
I'm not sure.
Because I for sure have never done this. This without a doubt is my first time. How's that?
Pretty good.
I think so too. Sherri's still doing a little bit of battle with our parchment paper over here. The next thing we're gonna do is we're actually going to brush our parchment paper with the rest of the remaining melted butter, or a little bit of the remaining melted butter.
Some of it.
Just to keep these from sticking when they're in there. Now the moment I have been dreading the entire time. We have to roll this. So I'm gonna just kind of use the parchment paper to help me real quick. Trying to use a little bit of like gravity to see if I can get it off the paper. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to use the parchment paper here.
And just sort of peel it away as you go.
And just sort of peel it away as I go is my thought.
Yeah.
Because I can tell that it is sticking quite a bit. But that's okay. This side over here is rolling pretty good. It's sticking quite a bit on this end. I think that this end is too thin. Well,
hang on. Let's see if we can fix this. 1 second.
So we're kind of doing okay here. You can see down here, Sherri stepped in to try to help to roll this a little bit better. I also want to try to like tighten this up a little. It's a little floppy. Sherri's now rolling this. I feel like it's doing okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm honestly pretty shocked. And then it says that once we get it rolled, which you can see we're actually almost done, we're actually going to chill this for 10 minutes, which will help it, I think, set up just a little bit. Look at this. Sherri, I think it kind of worked.
I think maybe it did.
Oh my gosh.
I do think that the flour on there was kind of key.
Yeah?
I think that it prevented it from sticking as much.
I think so too.
It stuck a little bit.
Not as bad as I expected.
Not as bad as people were saying.
Nope. And one of my concerns was that we were going to have it be like super thick in the middle and like really thin at the end.
It's a little bit.
It's a little bit.
But not bad.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Now, one of the great things about living in a place like Alaska when it is still winter is that when it says to chill something and something is kind of big, you can just put it outside. So that's what we're doing. We're covering it and we're gonna set it right outside because it's 17 degrees today. That's perfect chill cinnamon roll weather. So our thought is we're gonna set it right here by our front door. What if we came back and it was gone? Like a moose came and ate our cinnamon roll. Moose and bears, you better stay away. 10 minutes is up, Sherri. Moment of truth. Did a moose or a bear eat it? All right. Now we are going to roll this out. I'm curious to see if after it's been chilled, if the consistency has changed at all, if it peels a little bit easier. What do you think, Sherri? Oh, look at that.
Kinda.
It's kind of like a giant tamale. That's what it looks like. Oh man, now I want tamales.
Oh no.
So now we're gonna get a knife and we're gonna cut these. It says into 12 even sized pieces that will go in there.
Well.
We're
gonna do our best.
Just guess. We're gonna start cutting right in the middle. Sherri, you are so smart. How's it cut?
Not bad. It's a little sticky.
So we think we're gonna be able to get about 10.
We're gonna try.
We're gonna try. So about there, I guess. So these are now cut. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to take them and kind of reshape them a little bit
Yeah,
into like a...
need to be tighter.
Yeah, they're a little bit loose.
It's okay.
But I was gonna say, we know for next time, I don't think there's a real good way to fix that. And they'll probably tighten up when they bake. So we are definitely going to have a little bit of empty space on this.
Yeah.
Boom!
Oh, baby one.
Nailed it. 12 of them. Now, before we put these into the oven, we are going to brush them with more butter because, again, it's butter. Like, I don't think you could ever have too much on these.
Right.
It may not have gone perfect. We've learned some good lessons so far.
They don't look real pretty, but I'm hoping that they taste okay.
I think that they'll look great when they bake up.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this?
Well, not real sure because of all this extra space. I just don't know that they're gonna do super great. I think like they need to be kind of compact, but we're gonna just see how it goes.
For our first time, I'm actually pretty happy with them. So these are gonna go into the oven again. It's heated to 375, and it says they're gonna go in there until they're golden brown for about 30 minutes. So they're in there. Let's go ahead and set our timer, 10, 20, 30, and good to go. Now, while the cinnamon rolls are in the oven, we are gonna make our two toppings. We're gonna make our icing, and we are going to make our maple butter so that those are ready. Now, the first thing we're gonna make is the maple butter. Now, I'm actually going to cut this in half because remember, we're only putting this on half of the cinnamon rolls. So we are going to need half a cup, so 1 stick of butter, 3 tablespoons of confectioner's sugar, a half a teaspoon of maple extract, a quarter teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1/16 teaspoon, basically like
A pinch.
4 little grains of pink Himalayan sea salt. Sherri Beth just added the butter in there. Now we are going to add 3 tablespoons of the Swerve confectioner's sugar. I actually have been really impressed with this Swerve confectioner sugar. It tastes so much like normal powdered sugar. Like a champ, Sherri. Now we're gonna do half a teaspoon of maple extract. I just bought this maple extract for this recipe and it smells so good. Oh my gosh.
It smells like syrup.
That has been added in. Now we are going to do a quarter teaspoon of the pure vanilla. Again, from Jessica Violet. Jessica, almost out. You know, it's funny, Jessica actually makes her vanilla the exact same way we make ours. But since we've had this, we just haven't had to make any. Sherri was just saying we should go back to making some, and I actually agree. I love making our own vanilla, and it's so simple. And then we just need like a 1/16 of a teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt. So not a lot of it there. Sherri's just grinding it up, and nice. And then we're just gonna mix that up with a fork and see how our maple butter turns out.
And I'm passing this over to Adam because he has actual muscles.
You could have gotten this. I believe in you. It may have taken a little while, but you would have gotten it, Sherri. It is pretty well incorporated. Everything's nice and mixed in.
You want to give it a try?
I do want to give it a try. It smells really good. Why would you have normal butter when you can have this? Like, I want this on pancakes.
I was just going to say, this is what I want to do on pancakes instead of like the sticky syrup. Like this, just butter with all like the maple already in it.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
How have we never thought about this?
I don't know, but it's really good.
So good. So next we're gonna make the icing. And again, very simple. It just says in a medium heat-proof bowl, we're gonna melt 3 tablespoons of cream cheese. We are going to melt or put 2 tablespoons of heavy cream and 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar. Now, one of the comments said they added a teaspoon of vanilla extract and it really helped this. I think we're definitely gonna do that.
Yeah.
So, we've got our bowl here, we've got all our ingredients. Let's get mixing. So the first step is to melt the cream cheese. So Sherri's putting in 3 ounces of cream cheese into the bowl, and we'll microwave that just for a little bit. And if you need me, I'll be over here just eating maple butter. My gosh. Into the microwave, the cream cheese goes. And actually, that took like 13 seconds.
Yeah.
That was not long at all.
Nope.
Now we're gonna mix in the heavy cream, and we need 2 tablespoons of that. Perfect. And then we're gonna do 2 teaspoons of the granulated sugar. And again, this is where we're using that monk fruit sweetener in the icing that hopefully makes it nice and sweet. And one of the things that we're gonna do is we'll test this, obviously, once we get the icing made. And if it's not sweet enough, we can always add in a little bit more sugar. We can add in a little bit more vanilla. There's 1 teaspoon and numero dos. And we are gonna add in that 1 teaspoon of vanilla to this because I just feel like you can't go wrong with vanilla in an icing.
Yeah.
Now let's mix it up and see what the consistency is like.
So consistency-wise, I actually feel like this is a pretty good icing. Like, it's runny but not drippy.
But the question, Sherri, is not consistency.
How does it taste?
The question is taste.
Let's see.
Here we go, moment of truth. Please be good. Please, wait, really?
It is very cream cheesy, but it tastes like a cream cheese
Like frosting?
Yeah.
I'll be the judge of that. What?
I think it's good. It's not overly sweet.
It's not overly sweet. I do wish it was a little bit sweeter though.
You want to add a little bit more sugar?
I do, but what do you want?
We can do whatever you want, my
Let's add a little bit more sugar.
Okay.
The consistency is really good. The taste is really good. It's much better than I expected it to be. I expected it to have, it's gonna sound weird. I expected it to almost like have no flavor or not a great flavor, but it does taste a lot like a cream cheese frosting.
So I just added 1 more teaspoon of sugar.
All right, let's see if that makes it a little bit sweeter. Sherri just blew my mind. She just said, you know, we could add a little bit of maple extract to this too and make a maple frosting. But let's see how it is. She just tasted it with a little bit of added sugar. What do you think?
I think it's, yep, it's a little bit sweeter.
Is that better?
Yep.
Here we go. It's really good.
It is really good.
So here's
Keeping in mind that this is going to go over very sweet cinnamon rolls with lots of brown sugar and cinnamon already on them.
And butter.
And butter. And so you don't really want it like pure sugar because
I do.
that's just, okay. That's just going to be a lot.
Here's the nice thing at this point. I'm thrilled, you guys, because worst case scenario, let's say the cinnamon rolls are horrible. I can just like sit in the living room and eat maple butter and frosting for the rest of the day. So at this point, I'm gonna win no matter how the cinnamon rolls turn out, but I'm really excited. The timer just went off. Here's what I can say. I don't know how they're gonna look, but they smell really good. Dear Lord, please, please let these be okay. Oh my gosh. Sherri, like, I don't know that they're done yet. They're a little bit golden on top, but they look still a little mushy.
They look not terrible though.
They don't look bad. They look like buttery. What do you think? A little bit longer?
Yep, maybe a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna go 4 more minutes. And while the cinnamon rolls are finishing baking, you can clean up and get everything in the dishwasher so that once they're done, your kitchen's clean. Okay, so we put it back in for 5 minutes, actually, instead of 4. And then we just put it in for another 3 minutes. Oh yeah, that is what we're looking for, friends. Oh my goodness, it actually looks good. I don't know why I say that, like I'm surprised. Oh God, that was really hot. That was huge error. All right, here we go.
It doesn't look as terrible as I thought it might.
You had no faith. I had no faith in me.
Maybe close the oven?
Oh yeah, I should do that. Yeah, why don't I? Oven. Let's go ahead and turn that off. I'm a moron. Okay. All right, so this is ready to go. Sherri's got a little bit of like plain melted butter. We have the maple butter, and then we have the icing. Sherri, what's going where?
I think maybe we do like just kind of half and half. So maybe like this side, because it's next to me, we'll do the butter with the icing.
Okay.
And this will be the maple butter.
Oh, all right. I think it sounds amazing. Sherri, you said you think that this looks better than you thought it would?
It does, yeah.
So excited. All right, so there is the side with just butter. And now Sherri's gonna do her drizzling magic. Also, surprise, you have drizzling magic apparently.
Of course I do. There we go.
Wow. Now, I think it's perfect. And now on this side, how about we just take like the entire thing of maple butter and just like one big, no?
Wow.
Okay, well I'll let you decide how much goes on then.
Okay.
Here it goes. Yes, I like where this is going, Sherri. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Because it is butter and because these are still warm, I'm just going to kind of spread it on and then sort of assume that the butter will kind of melt and kind of create its own like buttery glaze.
There is a God and he is good. Holy cow. And the nice thing is that we have a bunch of maple butter left. So we're going to save that in a container in the fridge.
Keeping in mind that this was half the recipe.
That's true. So the recipe would have made a ton. And we're just going to have to make pancakes or waffles or something here soon that uses maple butter. I think that looks pretty darn perfect. So we're gonna let them cool for just a little bit and then the ultimate taste test. Let's see if these Oh, please.
Taste as good as they look.
Because they do look good and they smell good. We just took these out of the dish. You can see they're holding their shape pretty darn well. It did not stick to the parchment paper, was also one of my questions because of how sticky this was. The moment of truth. Sherri, Legg.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this?
I'm a little bit nervous.
Okay, because why?
Just because of other fails that we've had with like trying to find good like keto sweets. It's really hard to do. Like they just sort of don't exist. So, or they're very, very rare. They're like unicorns. So I'm excited to try it, but I'm also going into it with fairly low expectations.
Okay, that's totally fair. So I think the way we're gonna do this is we are going to just like
grab one and take a bite.
Grab one and take a bite. Let's start with, which one are you gonna start with?
Let's start with this one with the icing like it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Like
what the recipe says.
Calls for.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this tiny little piece.
The bite, I cannot tell. Oh, that's kind of optimistic. Sort of.
Sort of.
Okay.
Not terrible.
Okay, hold on. Let me try mine first. I also am taking one of those pieces. Oh, they're still hot.
Like, I don't know if it like cures my craving for actual cinnamon rolls, but it's not bad.
I for sure have some thoughts. Okay, let me finish chewing, then we'll talk. And actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna try one of these first, and then we'll give you our final thoughts on all of this. So, since these are bigger, Sherri, you wanna just split one?
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, they do kind of hold together a little better than I expected to.
Yeah.
They're still crumbling, we'll talk about that at the end. But here comes the maple butter one. This is the one I'm most excited about.
And put it on the same place.
Okay, smells mapley. You can't taste the maple. I wish we would have added more maple to the maple butter. That's my one thing. Oh man. It's really buttery though.
Yeah, it is very buttery.
Oh,
that's not a bad thing.
Are you ready to give them the wrap up?
Yeah.
Now we're fighting over this. There you go. You can have the rest of that one. But I get all the rest of them. Sherri, Legg.
Yeah.
The final keto cinnamon roll wrap up. Let's talk overall thoughts first.
Overall, not bad.
No, I agree.
Not as sweet as I would want it to be.
Yep.
The maple butter, you kind of lose the maple like once it's on the cinnamon roll. I'm actually wondering if you use the maple butter everywhere you used butter, like throughout the whole process.
Whoa.
Like as brushing it with butter and like all of that kind of stuff. If you used the maple butter, that would be a little bit more, because you could definitely taste the butter. So I'm just wondering if it was all the way through it.
Yep. That would be good. So some thoughts on this. Number one, to me, this is a huge success.
Yeah.
Like just the whole process, the fact that they held together, the fact that they, like the taste of them, they're not bad at all.
No.
Are they as good as a normal cinnamon roll? No. Like not at all. They're not nearly as sweet, but they're really good. Like all of this entire pan is going to get eaten.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Without a doubt. There are some things though I want to talk a little bit about. Sherri and I were just mentioning this. When it comes to keto foods like this.
Yes, and reviews that people leave.
And that's exactly right. I think that people expect like the best tasting cinnamon roll ever when you're making a keto version of this. Right.
Like I think that they're expecting white flour and eggs and sugar, like real sugar, like that consistency and that taste, but you're not using those ingredients, and so it's not going to hold up the same, it's not going to taste the same. You're using completely different ingredients, and so you just have to go into it knowing that. And I think people usually expect the keto version to taste exactly the same, and it doesn't. And
so I feel like that actually helped us, because we went into this expecting a keto cinnamon roll, and that's what we got.
Right.
And a good one. Some of my favorite things are how buttery it is.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It
held up better than I was expecting. Like,
completely.
There's so many keto things that just kind of crumble, which is just the nature of like the almond flour.
Yeah.
It just doesn't hold together, and so it just sort of is crumbly. And these are
a little bit, yeah, for sure.
Not as bad as I was expecting.
Nope, I completely agree. So for me, this was a huge success. Yeah. I'm really glad we did this.
Me too.
It was also really fun. This is something that I never on my own would have tried. I never would have been.
But it wasn't that hard, was it?
It was not that hard, and it made me want to try other things like this. A huge success. Like I said, I'm excited to eat all of these. So friends, want to know down below, how did we do? Tell us we did good, please, you guys.
They're not the prettiest things ever, but they taste good.
I think they're pretty darn pretty. I'm not gonna lie about that. I think they're pretty wonderful. Again, the recipes down below if you want to try this out. This is a recipe that we had fun making. What's your favorite of the two? Which one do you like better?
Oh,
You gotta pick.
Probably honestly the maple butter side.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. I don't think that the icing is necessary.
Yep, I agree.
It's good, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, the maple butter side was my favorite. The butteriness of it was so good. So friends, we love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us on these Sunday cooking videos. And we will see you tomorrow on the next LeggLife video.